Hello, this is one of the places I've stayed when I went to the Philippines for the first time. It was a Saturday, August 6, 2011. I'm on the rooftop looking towards Zamboanga International Airport. In the distance, you'll see an airplane landing. Sorry about the fast camera movement when I'm kind of panning around and everything. I was up on the rooftop and it was a little slippery up there, but it was really nice. So I just took some pictures and some videos when I was up there. Okay, well, the first thing I wanted to share with you is that the transportation, I zoom up at around the 3-minute mark of a jeepney. Back in 2011, it cost only like 6 pesos, which is about 14 cents, US cents, then to take a jeepney. And back then, you jump on a jeepney, and you can pay the 6 pesos and you can ride it and then jump off of it, and then it costs you another 6 pesos to get back. Now the inflation rate has gone up and it's gone a lot more. Probably it's like 12 pesos now. It's kind of a little crazy, and I'll share that with you on the next form of transportation, which is the trike. Back then it would only cost like 30 pesos for 2 people, and they would take us a mile or 2. Now it's kind of expensive. I feel sorry for their average Filipino who's not making that much money. I can remember many times in 2011 getting a really good price for 30 pesos for going about 2 miles and 2 people. Now it costs like 35 to 55 pesos for 2 or 3 people to be on a trike to go about the same distance. Our most expensive trip was 95 pesos, and it was about 4 miles. Like I say, it's no big deal for a foreigner to pay 95 pesos to go 4 miles and take 2 people along with you, or for a couple to go. But for an average Filipino who might only be making 200 pesos a day, that is extremely rough. The other form of transportation, the third one, is a pedicab. Personally, I never took a pedicab when I was in Zamboanga or when I was in Manila, so I didn't use it. I should ask my in-laws because they had a pedicab business. They had 3 or 4 that they bought and they leased them out to drivers. But I'm sure it's cost a little bit. And the last form of transportation that's in Zamboanga is Grab. I did cover that in another video. Then I will try to share a link or something regarding that. I wanted to try Grab out while I was in Zamboanga, but my spouse was not overly thrilled to take a Grab there. I know that they had the app and everything. I was excited to try it, but we did use Grab quite a bit when we were in Manila, and I'm glad that we did. She really liked having the air conditioning, and I felt a lot safer away from the smog, the pollution, and unfortunately too, it was a better deal all the way around for us to take a Grab vehicle versus taking a jeepney or even a trike. Okay, this is where we stayed. It was called the Jarding Da Vina Hotel. It's a middle-priced hotel that back then, in 2011, hotel prices ranged between $18 all the way to approximately $250 a night back then for the most expensive one. But we stayed at this particular one called the Hotel Da Vina for a few days, and I paid around $35 a night, and that was pretty nice. We had the Queen Deluxe room, and we had different amenities too, which was really nice. It's a nice place. They just recently decorated it. At the time I checked the reviews now, and they've been fairly consistent across various websites. It looks like people are pretty happy with it, and I was pretty happy with it back then. My wife and I prefer now. We're a little more spoiled and we can afford nicer hotels, but we stayed here and a couple other places as well. This is my opinion only. Zamboanga looks like a developing area. Some people call it a third world country, but it is a developing country, and there are some areas that are really nice compared to Western standards, or even some places in Europe. There's some modern buildings and the infrastructure is there, but there's some other areas where it's really, unfortunately and sad, it's very indigent, very not managed very well, and there's some areas that are kind of slums, and this particular area we're in is kind of in the middle. There are some nice new buildings over there. You'll see some churches over there, and I kind of point out and look at some of the different buildings, but where the hotel is at, it's kind of like there's some areas too that are kind of a little on the rough edges, but the pictures and the slideshow and the video kind of says it all. The pollution was kind of heavy this time when we went back to the Philippines last in 2019. In 2011 it wasn't very bad, but now it's really heavy. It's like it feels like an elephant was standing on my chest. The population is like, looks like it feels like it doubled, but there's so many people. They have a new mall there called KCC Mall, and they just opened another new mall, thank goodness, which is a little further out, so perhaps other people will be shopping at that mall and the prices will go down at the local KCC mall in Zamboanga versus the other mall. So there's less population, people going there, less traffic, less smog, and perhaps the prices will be more competitive because they have less people going there. I do look forward to go back and visit Zamboanga. I wanted to go back to Fort Pilar. I wasn't able to go inside there last time, into the shrine. We went over to the Paseo del Mar, which is on the ocean front, and where they have the docks and everything too, and night entertainment. So it's a really nice place to go. I had that in my first. I went there on my first trip, but I wasn't able to make it back there the second time. I wanted to go to a whole bunch of different places, but unfortunately, Amanda became ill, and it's another story in itself, which is in my blog too. It was extremely hot, and the humidity, and then one day we'd have that, and another day we had torrential downpour of rains, flooding in the streets, so it was a really difficult time for us. Well, that's pretty much it I wanted to say, except for this one last historical note here. The Zamboanga Peninsula was liberated from the Japanese in World War II. On March 10th, they got Zamboanga back. They didn't have to do much fighting, but on the 11th of March 1945, they had a lot of fighting. Unfortunately, 250 U.S. soldiers lost their life, and 685 were wounded. But the whole area of Mindanao wasn't reclaimed back to the Philippines until August 15th, 1945. And unfortunately, in eastern Mindanao, they lost 820 or killed in action. 2,880 Americans were injured, and 12,885 Japanese passed away, and 8,235 are missing. That's according to Wikipedia. I just wanted to throw that in there because the United States was very involved in liberating my wife's country, and it wasn't too long ago that we were a big help to them in Zamboanga and in the Philippines in general. Okay, well, thanks for listening. If you listened that far of me talking, take care. Thanks. Bye.